So Kamala Harris recently spoke in front of a teachers union in Detroit. And in that speech, she said, we just got to get through the next 64 days. And everyone is saying that she took on the accent of a Southern black woman, which we know she's not a Southern black woman. She is from California. And I'm going to post the video here. But what that's called is code switching. Obama did it too. And they actually teach about it in human resources classes when they give classes for employees. What it is you tend to switch your personality based on the environment you're in, whether it's professional or you're around athletes. You'll change your tone of voice as well as your personality to try to fit in. It's interesting. You can look it up. It's called code switching, and that's exactly what she does. She's a chameleon, and she blends in with whatever environment she's in. It's pretty typical with some politicians.
Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that? You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time. Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time.
Kamala just can't seem to stick to just one personality as she's been exposed for pandering. And as we know, many politicians do this to try and get some votes. They try to appeal to something that's relatable to make us feel as if they're one of us. The problem is that we're not even sure as to where she really stands. She flip-flops on her own policies so as to try and agree with everyday Americans, but that's not working out too well for her. Although thankfully, she's sticking to the same script. And guys, I just want to thank y'all so much for rocking with me today. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing and sharing this video. Let's get started.
We have dreams. We can see what is possible, unburdened by what has been.
Now, you would think at this point in her campaign, at least one staffer would tell her to stop using that line. But I guess she's determined to make that a tagline of some sort. Which kind of brings me to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, the same official who has tried to make things clear to the American public, but has failed to do so on numerous occasions. Honestly, I'm surprised she hadn't been fired yet. She was asked about this sudden switch of accents from Harris by none other than Peter Doocy. Here's her response.
Since when does the Vice President have what sounds like a Southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, do you hear the question that do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question?
Now, I think it's an important question because it's kind of like we're not getting the real Kamala Harris. Now, I'm not sure what you guys think about this, but wouldn't it be great to have somebody who's just authentic to themselves? Because it's clear as day that she's just trying to convince people to like her. And I feel like no matter what, a lot of people are just never going to like her. Now, what makes it even more infuriating is that she's not showing us her true colors. Look at what she's doing right now to avoid media questions at all costs. Now, guys, this happened despite the fact that almost 95% of mainstream media is behind her run. She's afraid to speak to the media. Now, I'm not sure if it's a wise move given that Donald Trump and JD Vance have been out there giving interviews left and right. And it's safe to say that critics are onto her antics. That's right, guys, especially the fact that she changes her accent and her personality based on who she's talking to.
Focus on it to examine or to at least see the fakery. She was in Georgia a week ago and suddenly she had a Georgia accent. She goes from one to the other. You know, I flew yesterday, Carly. As I crossed each state, heading from New York back to Florida, my accent changed. I'm telling you, I had the Carolina accent. Minutes later, South Carolina. Then I was over Georgia. I mean, come on. I was going all over the place. I turned redneck at one point. I think I got that one in there, too. But look, this points to the fakery and how dumb Kamala Harris and the Democrats hope that the American people are.
Now, Jean-Pierre, she fired back at Peter Doocy because of this question. I want you guys to listen to what Jean-Pierre has to say about these concerns of everyday Americans.
I mean, do you hear the question that do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care, you know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about health care. That's what Americans care about.
So
that's what they want to hear.
This is something...
They care about, your colleague just asked me about what basically we talked about, went back and forth about democracy and freedom. That's what they care about. I'm not even going to entertain some question about the president. It's just hearing it sounds so ridiculous.
Well, but hearing it is...
The question I'm talking about, the question is just insane.
Is that how she talks in meetings here?
I'm just... Peter, we're moving on. We're still moving on.
You gotta love how she's this good at deflecting questions. And it's priceless that they're dictating what Americans care about. Now, I understand that we do care about the economy and the cost of living, but it's not like they've done much about it in the past couple of years. Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. And, whether it's Donald Trump that ends up winning the election or if it's Kamala Harris, oh God, we're in a world of a pickle, as my grandfather would say. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling like the system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And it's kind of funny because where I used to work with a lot of married men. And a lot of those married men would always complain about their spouses as if they really just didn't even like their spouses, which is sounding like a pretty horrible situation. But that was the case for many of them. They didn't like who they were married to. But I was different. Anyway, through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. But this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax or a tax on the poor. I'm now at a point where, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. To be honest, many people believe that we've been gaslit through their entire term, that we're supposed to celebrate prices going down when they're not.
Now, to be clear, we have seen grocery prices come down over the past year or more, and so that is important. And a lot of that is the work that's been done from this administration.
Which is what makes Peter's question all that much more relevant, because the consensus is that Americans are being lied to. And yet we have a White House who just doesn't care if that's happening or not. And it's also showing us that Kamala Harris believes in a specific accent when it comes to black people. Now, do any of you guys believe that she really speaks like this? This concept did not work out too well for Hillary Clinton, so I think it's probably pretty safe to say that it might not do wonders for Harris's presidential campaign. And we also have to address that this is sending the wrong message to voters. The fact that she's willing to change her personality just to try to appeal to people means that she might do the same thing for her policies. She can't be trusted. Now, again, this is something that she's already done numerous times. She changed her mind about fracking. She changed her mind about the border wall. She changed her mind about decriminalizing illegal immigrants, and she's not done yet.
When you look at 2019, this is what she supported. She supported the Green New Deal, which includes a federal job guarantee.
Not only that, she co-sponsored it.
Exactly. Yep. But now the campaign says that she no longer supports a federal job guarantee. This is the campaign, not her.
Right. When it comes to energy, she endorsed, we all heard her say over and over, she's going to ban fracking, oil and gas fracking. Well, that was in 2019. Look at that. 2024. Now the campaign says she does not support a total ban on fracking.
Right. But this whole thing with federal land and then expanding federal land where you can't drill and frack, that is a subtle way of banning it, shadow banning it. When it comes to health care, she supported Medicare for all. Oh, then she said, did I say that? I didn't didn't mean that. Campaign says she will not push Medicare for all. Why do you even ask? And when it comes to crime, she was going to be tough. A progressive prosecutor looking to end cash bail, having a real big heart for the criminal. Now she's designed a campaign as a pragmatic prosecutor, taking on predators and fraudsters. And I would just say this, there's a downside. Because there's a lot of a party who want the no cash bail, who want to be easy on it. Meanwhile, it was Donald Trump who did the criminal justice
Lawrence,
reform.
this next one, that was
This
the
is
biggest,
crazy.
that was the latest flip-flop.
It's unbelievable. When it comes down to the border wall, in 2019, she called it a medieval vanity project, and she said it was a waste of taxpayer money.
She said on The View.
Now, apparently in 2024, she vows to allocate millions of dollars to continue building the wall by supporting the border bill.
Which begs the question, is this the kind of leader that you really want in the White House? One that flip-flops on her positions when the election time comes? Now, speaking of which, guys, her debate with Donald Trump is one that a lot of analysts are waiting on. One that might not even happen because she's trying to change the rules at the last moment. Now, guys, I did a previous video where I discussed what Harris wants to do in this debate, and also why changing the rules is her only hope if she wants to be able to face off against Donald Trump. Anyway, guys, make sure you guys watch that one next. Click on our channel, go to the video section, check that video out right next. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.